Well, you are here on episode 782 of the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show as we talk with Kisha A. Brown Esq, a civil rights attorney, legal innovator, the CEO of Justis Connection, the Black Lawyer Directory, and today's show topic is power, purpose, and protection, why every Black household needs a lawyer. Oh, it's going to be good. Don't you move. We'll be right back here on the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show after this quick intro.
Whoa. Why y'all so happy?
You don't know? Sharvette Mitchell is on the radio.
It's time to get motivated, excited, and influenced. Why? It's the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show, live from Richmond, Virginia. And now, here to motivate, excite, and influence you, Sharvette Mitchell.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show, broadcasting live from the capital city of Richmond, Virginia, but heard and seen all across the World Wide Web. Certainly, we appreciate all of you that are coming in live from various platforms. Hello there, YouTube. We see you coming on in. Hello there, Facebook and LinkedIn and all the things. Certainly, if you listen to the podcast, we love you for that. Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, thank you so much. Some of you might be listening from Amazon Music. We certainly appreciate you. And, you know, the goal of the show is to motivate, excite, and influence. And we're going to do just that today. This segment is being brought to you by our 9th annual in-person event, y'all. We're less than something like 16 days away from the Platform Builders Summit that's taking place and happening in Richmond, Virginia, November 7th and 8th. Maybe a couple more tickets left. Jump over to platformbuildersummit.com. Jump over to platformbuildersummit.com or look down below in the show notes wherever you are watching and wherever you are listening in. Listen, shout out. Hello, Roberto. Hello, Marilyn, coming on in. We see you. Hello, Deborah. Thank you for being here. Hey. Kim and Joe, hey, thank you for being here. Let's go ahead and announce and tell you a little bit more about our guests because I want to jump right on in to this juicy topic. Certainly, Unbreakable Minds, thank you for being here. They were a guest of the show as well. So, you know, as always, you can check out Sharvette.com for all of our past guests and all of that. So, as we dive into this topic, power, purpose, and protection, why every Black household needs a lawyer. I'm so excited to have in the virtual green room with me, about to come up to the mic, Kisha A. Brown Esq. She is a civil rights attorney, legal innovator, and the founder and CEO of Justis Connection, the Black Lawyer Directory, with a career spanning litigation, legislative advocacy, and tech entrepreneurship. Kisha is on a mission to make justice more accessible to Black people. She has served as Director of Civil Rights for the Maryland Attorney General's Office, as well as led the Baltimore City Civil Rights Office and authored key state laws. She's been named the 2023 Justice Champion and one of the most influential women in legal tech. Kisha now uses her national platform to help Black attorneys grow their practices through strategic visibility aligned with purpose-driven business development. And her and I are fellow Goldman Sachs BIB alum. Put your hands together. Welcome to the stage, Kisha A. Brown Esq. Woo! We're excited to have you.
I love it. I'm back here yeah.
Yes, Liz, all the things. Wait. I think I still hear them clapping. Okay, there we go. Awesome. And so I'm excited to chat with you today. And listen, the listening room is coming on up. We see you all dialing on in. Welcome. Yes, Madeline. Thank you. This is awesome. So I want to jump right on in, Kisha, because certainly this topic is, you know, something that I feel is really important for us to share here on the show. And so when you say every Black household needs a lawyer, like exactly what do you mean? Like break it down for us.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Sharvette, for having me. I'm just so excited. Your energy is infectious. I am so excited for our conversation, and I'll jump in, right? Like, I think When I say that every Black household should have a lawyer, it is about having access to legal information, legal resources, legal advice to navigate this world, this country, everything that comes with adulting, as we know, right?
Yes.
And, we think of lawyers as, in a tall building somewhere with a briefcase and a suit, and it costs a lot, and we don't know them, and maybe they sit in the third pew to the left. But it really is it's a personal relationship, right? That every Black household needs to be able to tap into that legal access, that legal information, so that they can make the best decisions for them and their families.
Wonderful, wonderful. And a lot of our viewers and listeners are small business owners. So I'm sure, right along with that, the family, Black family, but then also Black businesses and Black entrepreneurs as well. And so how does legal information and really access to representation help, the Black community really gain some real power?
Yeah, it's in everything. Sometimes we think of the law as, oh, I'm not going to court, I don't need a lawyer, right? But the law is in everything. As a business owner, it's super critical to have access to legal counsel for a number of things, not just for your incorporation and how you're choosing whether you're a partnership, an LLC, an S corp, making sure that your documentation is in order with the state, and also, for your own business with your compliance and your regulations, depending on your industry. And then, of course, contracts, right? I do a whole course on sort of things that entrepreneurs need a lawyer for. And contracts, as you know, is always like top of the list.
Absolutely.
We're always trying to make sure that we get paid for the work we do, the service, the value, the widgets, the product. And we are oftentimes signing at left and right, to produce our product, to get paid. And with that comes risk, it comes liability. And it's not to say that you don't sign these contracts, but that we're signing from an informed position, right? That we're doing so understanding how one contract affects another, how one contract affects your own business operations, when you pay people, how you want to be paid, what's the course of the process of your business, your intellectual property that's at play. So there's so much that, especially as business owners, that we have to have legal counsel at our kitchen table.
Yeah. And so when we say, Black families, certainly anyone that's watching and listening, everyone needs a lawyer. However, there is a cultural connection or something about representation that is cultural. There's a cultural, I'm going to say companionship or something. What do you say about like Black families having attorneys that are of color?
Yeah. We are oftentimes using the law on the defensive, right? Like, I hope nothing happens, right? And if it does, we're on the reactive, like we're trying to, get out of something. And most of the law is really to be used proactively, right? To avail yourself of the law and what it affords. And there's nothing like having someone who's culturally competent, not just knowing the law, not just being able to apply it, but also understanding who you are as a person, where you're coming from, and to be able to tap into your success as personal, right? So you're not just another client, you're not just another name. You look like my cousin Gina. Right? Right? I understand I've been discriminated against. I can relate, right? Oh, I went to that school. Oh, I remember that, right? Like, there are things that even when it doesn't deal with, someone doing microaggressions or touching your hair at work, that are imperative for you to have that cultural connection, right? And quite frankly, Sharvette, too, we got to keep our money in the family, because Black lawyers were only 5% of all lawyers. So we are a small segment. Yes, right? And so if we don't hire Black lawyers, are we expecting somebody else to look for them if we're not looking for them, right? If we're not hiring our local Black lawyer for our car accident, for our contract, for our intellectual property, trademark, all of that stuff matters in order to, safeguard the Black lawyer and what they mean to the Black community, not just first person, which is important, but for us as a community as well.
as a community. And I see hearts going up for that. Certainly, definitely throw hearts up for that. And if you're just coming on in, we got Kisha A Brown Esq here with us. Our topic is power, purpose, and protection, why every Black household needs a lawyer. And so we are right on in this. And that 5%, that is a statistic I am just hearing. So to me, that is really profound. And so as we talk about kind of like this purpose part, how can, individuals, families align their legal choices like estate planning, like you've mentioned business formation, even home ownership. Most people, when they think about, oh my goodness, I got to sign my life away. How do we align these legal choices to really a larger life purpose and legacy?
Such a great question. Oftentimes when we talk about legacy, when we talk about wealth building and generational wealth, we're not talking about lawyers, right? We're like, what do you mean? Why do I need a lawyer for that? But the only way to get wealth from one generation to the next is through an estate plan, right? Is through having a plan that transfers your wealth, your assets to the next generation. And so we miss that part, right? Like our generation is still learning the ropes. And so 70% of Black households don't have don't have a will. And so we lose some of that wealth building because we're not utilizing the tools, right, that are in place to do that. And if we don't have an estate plan, it means that we're subjugated to the state's plan for us. So every state has a plan that's like, oh, you don't got a will? Well, now we're going to use our generic plan for what happens to your assets. And it doesn't necessarily fit what you might have envisioned for how your children or your cousin or your church or whomever get taken care of. Right.
That right there is so powerful. And I know that people are saying the Justis Connection, and it is spelled correctly. This is not incorrect spelling. This is the right spelling. When they go to justisconnection.com, what will they find? What kind of resources and connections over there will they find?
Yeah. So we are growing, right? So don't count us out yet. We're not perfect, right? Because I want to give the disclaimer, but this is a growing network of Black attorneys around the country. And so every day I speak with new attorneys. Today was New York and Arkansas, right? And we get requests from around the country all over. We've gotten requests so far from 43 different states around the country. And so we connect people with Black lawyers. You can look them up. You can see them. We have some free resources, especially for business owners. We have a whole page dedicated to Black business owners that has how to hire the right business lawyer, how to hire the right estate planning lawyers also there. Some information around small claims. Everything doesn't require a lawyer, right? And so I'm not someone who's going to tell you need a lawyer for everything, but you do like small claims for most states that could be anywhere between 5,000 and 15,000 if it's below that, which means it's meant for you to handle on your own. And so you don't necessarily need a lawyer for that, and it's probably more expensive. So we try to provide, education, resources, easy tips. We also have a YouTube channel that has past episodes where we highlighted personal injury, family law, civil rights law, bringing on Black attorneys because seeing is believing, right? Yes. And it's probably, Sharvette, one of the favorite parts of running or building this network of Black lawyers is being able to eyewitness all of the Black excellence that we have in the legal community, that work hard every day for these Black businesses, Black, children, to make sure that they're protected in the law. And so I want everybody to experience that, not just the chosen few. We all deserve to have that at our side.
Thank you for spearheading Justis Connection and bringing this all together. And so you touch a little bit certainly about wills and kind of the percentage, what's kind of missing there. What are some other or kind of like most overlooked areas that Black households leave, themselves kind of legally vulnerable with?
That's a great question, right? There's so much really to touch on. I would say definitely the top one would be estate planning as a family, right? Like we oftentimes, that 70% is real, because that means most of us, the vast majority of us, are out here just hoping that nothing happens to us, right? Nothing happens to us. And then therefore our businesses are okay, our children are okay, your cars, your home, those bank accounts, all of that is in the ether when you don't have a plan, right? When it's not written down and really guided. And so estate planning is definitely a top one that I would say for Black families to really take advantage of. A lot of Black lawyers offer free webinars, right? They want to get the information out. They know that you're not going to necessarily hire them on day one, but that you need to think about it. You got to talk about it with your family. You got to discuss this thing. You got to figure this out, you know? And so that's a really big one. I would say business owners.
And can I say, Kisha, let me go back to the estate planning. I was on TikTok, watching TikTok yesterday, and there was a Caucasian sister who was talking about how her grandfather, he bought a house in DC, right outside of DC in like the 30s, 40s. Long story short, passed a couple years ago. He bought the house for like less than $100,000. A couple years ago, house was sold for $1 million, will in place. So she said, basically, him having that house, the property value going up, the will being in place, cleared all of their debt, like wiped the slate clean for the next generation, wiped everything clean. They have income. And so I'm thinking, I wanted to just call that out. She just happened to be a Caucasian sister. However, we're saying, some of that is not happening, with our households and with our family. So I just wanted to kind of like stick a pin in that, estate planning piece. And she clearly said, she says he probably got the house because of some privilege, and some other things that were going on during that time. But at the end of the day, having this house and then it being properly willed and everything cleared the slate for the next generation. So I think that's really important to bring up.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when Sharvette, so many Black families have land down south.
Yes,
right.
ma'am.
So we're talking about Alabama, South Carolina, Virginia,
Georgia.
right? Where folks have land in Georgia. That's right. And we may not all live on the land, right? Somebody may live on the land, or we're like, oh, that's over there, that's our piece too. And we've got that institutional memory, but we haven't done the paperwork part, right, to pass it down. What makes it tricky is that then enters into what's known as heirs property, right? So heirs property is where granddaddy didn't have a will, and now that land passes down to his children, all of his children, right? And let's say 2 of the uncles have passed, 1 aunt, there's 2 alive. Now the children's children now inherit, right? So you can have generations, 10s, 20, 30 people who now have an inheritance stake with that land, which makes it very challenging, right, in the system to make sure that everybody gets their part. And that's where having good estate planning attorneys can help navigate that, because otherwise you go down and you say, well, I want to save my granddaddy's land. That's right, North Carolina.
Yeah.
You want to save that as we can, because they're not making more land, right? So that is so important for us to keep. And it can be a long process, but it's worth it, right? That land is worth it. And for generations to be able to have land is a powerful thing. And so it does take purpose, right? Like we have to be intentional about going through the process to protect and preserve the land that is our legacy.
Oh, this is so good. And let us know in the comments if you're hearing things that you've never heard before. Let us know. And if you're just popping on in, we're talking about power, purpose, and protection, why every Black household needs a lawyer. Now, I know, Kisha, there are people saying, when you say lawyer, that sounds like a lot of money. It sounds expensive. And so that may be the resistance that some people have. How is Justis Connection kind of breaking down those barriers for everyday people?
Yeah, no, it's a really good question. And it's something that I'm very, I'm faced with every day, right? The reality that there's this gap. All of us over here, I'm gonna put myself with y'all right now, but all of us over here, right? And then you got the lawyers on this side, and there's a real gap, right? Part of it is the not knowing, but then also part of it is the how much is this gonna cost me, right? Like how much do I need to come to the table with? And like anything, there is a cost to it, right? Like there's a value for someone else to do this service. And it varies, right? It varies widely, quite frankly. If you are in a metropolitan area, obviously it's going to cost more. If you legal consultation up north and on the West Coast could cost anywhere between $300 to $1,000 for an hour, right? Okay. $1,000 is large law. Now I'm a huge fan of small solo firms. It doesn't mean that they're not as good. It means that they, like many small business owners, right, want to have control over their own sort of day, right? The type of client, how much they can charge, what they do. So small and solo law firms are where it's at. That's where the majority of Black lawyers live as well. Most firms are not the big ones. So if you're like, I can't afford such and such, that's fine. Nobody can. Right. So most folks are at, those local firms. And part of it is an investment. Yeah. Especially on the estate. I'll break it into 3 parts. There are certain parts of engaging with a lawyer that can be done on contingency, meaning that the lawyer doesn't get paid until you get paid through usually a settlement of some sort. So that's with car accidents, medical malpractice, it's some civil rights cases and things of that nature. If you're doing an estate plan, those can be, they come with a cost. And so we have those folks usually charge not by hour, but by a package, right? It's usually a flat rate. They spend as much time as needed with the family and gathering documents, and whether it's a will and a trust and dealing with heirs property and so forth. They usually also offer payment plans. Those can range, I would say, estate plans anywhere from, again, depending where you are in the country, $1,000 to $5,000. Okay. Right. And it also depends. Yeah. And, it can be a sticker shock for a lot of folks, but we can save, right? We save for a lot of stuff.
Listen, people buy what they want to buy. Don't let me come look at y'all closet and what kind of luxury bags y'all got.
That's right. That's right.
So it's a mindset, and I think it's information. Yeah. Yes. Absolutely. The value. I didn't mean to talk over you. The value of it. And I think just having the information of knowing, like, go ahead and get some things together. And then, when you go, you're not just kind of shooting the breeze. Like you're like focused on task. Like, hey, I'm here to use my hour. I got all my ducks in a row. I have done some research and all of that. And so it sounds like Justis Connection might be a great place if there are listeners, viewers that are African American saying, I want to, move in the right direction, at least for estate plan. We're going to cover, I want you to hit any other kind of areas that people might forget about, but Justis Connection is a great place, I think, for people to start. And there might be people saying, can they work with you, Kisha?
Yeah, it's funny because I forget to promote, sort of what I do as well, which really is can you hear me?
It might be a little it's a little bit of a delay. I can hear you now. Might be a little bit of a delay while that audio is coming back in.
Sorry, that's my fault. Okay.
Great. And I wanted to capture this comment. Carl Carl Brown, such an important topic. If we don't know what to do with our legal challenges, we can lose family inheritance. Thank you for sharing this information. Thank you for being here. Another YouTube user. It is very important to understand the importance of the legalities of inheritance so that we can build wealth. Yes and amen. Yes and amen to that. So again, justiceconnections.com is where you can go. And then Kisha, if somebody wants to work with you, what localities, where are you, available if they want to say, I'm connecting with her. How can I work with her? Yep. And those that may
sorry about that.
Okay. That's okay. It's something in the airways. It's something, I think whatever happened with Amazon yesterday.
People can work with me. I know. Great. I know. I also think my child is probably pulling all the streaming right now for watching the show. So there's that too.
Okay, there's that too. All right, great. Well, listen, we have your connection information. If you're on Sharvette.com, that's a great place to go. We have Kisha's bio, all the links, all of that. Where can they follow you on social media? Where can they connect with you on social media?
Yeah, they can go to Justice Connection. I'm also on LinkedIn. I do one-on-one legal assessments as well, so they can find me on LinkedIn to be able to connect there. And they can go to Justice Connection, use the contact us, and I look at those fairly regularly. But the one-on-one legal assessments are all about being able to talk about whether it's family or personal or professional, and get someone to be able to give you a legal download, if you will, and a roadmap on sort of assessing what are your legal needs and what are your best next steps. So that's what we do in our one-on-one. So I welcome, being able to talk further with folks, but they can find me on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook.
Wonderful. And LinkedIn, it's Kisha A. Brown. Kisha A. Brown, and we have tagged over there on LinkedIn. Shout out to those also on Instagram that are listening in. And so, as mentioned, we have a lot of small business owners watching. So we talked a little bit about the, families and great comments that are coming in around estate planning for business owners. You mentioned contracts earlier. Anything else that, for that you might see that maybe is a gap or you want business owners to kind of have their protection together around?
Yeah, people talk a lot about trademarks and copyright and even patents, right? So that's all of that I just mentioned is your intellectual property. And just think about it. It came from your intellect, right? And it is your property. So intellectual property and being able to protect that. And so oftentimes, especially, on social media, we see all of these creatives who are doing, they're creating in ways that are just natural, but it's also an expression of genius and how we capture that. So those business owners who maybe write curriculum and courses, right? Being able to copyright that so somebody can take it and make it their own. Whether you've got an amazing brand like the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show, and you see you've got the pink microphone and the swooshes and all of these details, right? And sometimes we take for granted, I just threw a little swoosh, I liked it. And, the next thing you know, somebody has the exact same name, the exact same symbol, and it sounds far-fetched, but even myself, I had someone reach out earlier this month earlier this year, and they sent me a whole write-up and they said, is this you? And I said, no, that's not me. It was somebody else who started the organization and they chose the name Justice Connection, right? So now I have to go and basically be Tina Turner and say, I'm leaving here with my name, right? What else are you gonna try to pick? That's my name. Right? And so it's important to protect something, especially if you plan to go outside of your state and your region and be sort of a bigger brand. You want to make sure that no one else steal your secret sauce. And so intellectual property comes into play. I'll give a shout out to a Black-owned legal tech startup. It's called ipgen.io. And you can do like sort of DIY, do it yourself, intellectual property work so that you don't have to an attorney, right? So they help you using technology, get your own IP and at a much lower cost.
Okay, so shout out to them. And certainly as we are wrapping up, I do want to acknowledge, you've worked inside the government, civil rights offices, now tech. And so how would you say like the combination of all of your experiences is really helping you now with offering these new solutions for making justice more accessible?
Yeah, I think, I feel very blessed and very grateful to have experiences that have really shaped my journey, right? At one point, I was director of the Civilian Review Board in Baltimore City, right? And I started there about a month after the Freddie Gray uprising. And it was there that I got firsthand to be able to see how police brutality terrorizes Black communities, right? And so it is so important for us to not suffer in silence and all the things that we experience as a Black person in this country or any person in this country. And knowing that there are legal resources, it's not saying you have to sue tomorrow, but you deserve, whether it's to protect something that you built, whether it's to protect your family, whether it's to protect yourself, you deserve to be able to at least tap into legal resources to avail yourself and have justice on your side.
Yeah, so well said. I can't take nothing from that or add nothing to that. Kisha A. Brown Esq, thank you so much for just doing a quick, I'm going to say Oprah life class right here. Why every Black household needs a lawyer. And so we appreciate you and thank you for just putting the information out. So a lot of times it's just awareness around it and that sparks the conversation that may happen in a family or sparks a conversation for an entrepreneur or anyone or a couple that may be listening or a child that may be listening. So thank you so much. We wish you much more continued success with your endeavors with Justis Connection.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you. All right. Woo, it is a wrap. Time flew on by. If you missed any portion of this, no problem. Wherever you are watching or wherever you're listening, just go back and you'll be able to experience the whole entire show. One of the easiest places is Sharvette.com, which is our main website that has the full bio and links for our guest. So we want you to jump over there. If you're listening on YouTube and you're like, you know what, I like this content. I like this girl, Sharvette Mitchell. Go ahead and subscribe to our channel. Go ahead and hit subscribe. Again, this was episode 783. Yes, you heard that correctly. And we keep it locked right here. Every Tuesday is the live show. We appreciate all of our live viewers and listeners that have been in. Thank you for those that are commenting, saying this was great information. Thank you so much for being here and being a part. It is a wrap. We will see you all later on the web. Bye.
Live from Richmond, Virginia, you've been listening to the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show. Catch Sharvette Mitchell every Tuesday at 6 p.m. interviewing all the stars you want to hear from. So until next week, stay motivated, excited, and influenced. This is the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show.